with you because we have now another tornado warning for parts of the Metro Quad cities here. And Kyle, why don't you go ahead and get me on that radar there? Yeah, it looks like this one's going to work, so we're going to have you run things.
You got it. We'll get back on the radar here momentarily. There we go.
But this is our new tornado warning. This goes until 9:15. This is for much of Henry County and a little bit of portions of Mercer County, eastern Mercer County, and again, along that line of storms. And we just pointed this out a few minutes ago as we were looking at that line of storms moving into Mercer County. There was a little twist there. And as you can see, we're dealing with yet again another line of, or another twist, possible spin in the atmosphere along that line of storms. And that's why the Weather Service has just put out that tornado warning for much of Henry County. There you can see it, and this includes areas right around Woodhull, Cambridge, Geneseo, probably over to Atkinson, Jocelyn, and areas just south and east of the metro. And it's right along that line of storms right there. Very heavy rain, but along that as well, we've got that little notch that we were talking about, and that's giving us the chance for a tornado. So that's why if you're in these areas till 9:15, you're going to want to take shelter as this line continues to move to the east-northeast, or really now closer to northeast, really north-northeast, at about 45 miles per hour. And as we continue with this line, we still have some severe thunderstorm warnings along it. Some of those warnings also mark tornado possible because along these lines we have these little spins taking place. This one was the most prominent that kind of jumped out at us on the radar screen, and that's why we've got these now portions mostly of Henry County, Illinois, in the tornado warning until 9:15 p.m.
Yeah, I'm looking at if we can take Max 2 in the control room, guys. We've got the velocity pulled up here, and this is what we're watching. Within this line, there's those areas that we could see some circulation. So we're going to keep a very close eye on this, and that's within this area here, just to the south of Orion. That's the area I'm concerned with. I'm going to go ahead and circle this so we can kind of get a good idea of exactly where we're watching. But really up and down this line, I think there's going to be, throughout the evening tonight, as we mentioned before we took it back to programming, we're probably going to see a lot of these little spin-up quick circulations here forming. But right now, just to the south of Orion, right there's one, and I would say near Woodhull. We're also watching a couple circulations there. We'll put this in motion and show you exactly what we're seeing. But yeah, those areas are going to be the area that we watch for that circulation. That's when we got that new tornado warning. That does include Geneseo, Atkinson, Kelowna. We got some times of arrival here, folks. Orion, 8:45, just about here within the next couple minutes. So take immediate tornado precautions if you're in Orion. Andover, 8:45 as well, 8:50 in Kelowna. As Eric mentioned, give yourself a few extra minutes here to kind of pad that time a little bit. Closing in on the top of the hour will be in Geneseo, and then just a little bit after that, Jocelyn and Atkinson as well.
And as we take a look at Max 1, we'll show you the warnings that we're dealing with right now. Here's the severe thunderstorm warning till 9:15. Again, we're looking at a possible tornado with this ahead of the line that's moving through. And I just want to clear off the radar so you know exactly who is in the path of this storm. This would be for Clinton County, and as we come on out, eastern portions of Cedar County, Iowa, much of Scott County, pretty much all of Scott County, and also portions of Muscatine County and Rock Island County. Then as we drop a little farther south, this is the tornado warning that we're looking at right now. And the reason for this is, as we can take a look a little bit closer at this line of storms here, we'll stop this so you can get an idea of why we are looking at this warning. A little bit of a circulation down here, right toward the middle of the screen. A little bit of an inflow notch here. That would be the spin that we're watching just to the south and west of Andover. And again, this will be a tornado warning that is in effect until 9:45 this evening. Also with hail and strong winds with that storm. And then as we look at the rest of Henry County, Illinois, you can see that that's got that orange box because, again, ahead of that line, still looking at possible tornadoes along our severe thunderstorm warning. And then as we drop farther south to Knox County, about the northern third or northern half, northeastern half of Knox County, now out of Galesburg as that line has passed through till 9 o'clock, so just about 15 more minutes. We have that warning that goes for Knox County and to areas just south of Bureau County. And boy, with these storms heading to the north and east, wouldn't be surprised if Bureau County gets in on that as well.
Let's take Max 2. Look at this in our Rock Island camera here. no visibility. We're seeing those sheets of rain starting to move in here, so that strong thunderstorm, at times severe as well. The visibility's down to probably less than, I'd say, a quarter of a mile, if not down to zero. So we're watching that move in here. Is strongest portion of that storm moving into the metro.
Yeah, and on radar here we can see it on this version of the radar. You can see why we're dropping visibility. We are right here downtown, and we're looking into that heavy sheet of rain coming on through. So again, that's something that we're keeping an eye on, because along these lines that have those strong winds, we can get those little spins, and that's one reason why we have that tornado warning that, again, right here includes much of Henry County, Illinois, with the leading edge of those storms now from Orion back to the south and east, probably down toward Galva. That's why we're probably going to see this tornado warning be clipped a little bit on its southwest end to account for the movement of those storms. And again, that goes till 9:15 for much of Henry County. So if you're in Cambridge, up toward Geneseo, all of these rural areas, especially now, right now, south of Interstate 80, you need to take shelter, because that line is closing in on you pretty quickly. And if you're north of I-80 in this box, which is essentially northwestern portions of Henry County, Illinois, you need to be planning on taking shelter pretty quickly here as we get farther into this warning that, as you can see, goes until 9:15.
Yeah, we go back to Max 2. We're going to kind of bounce back and forth between the two sources here. And yeah, the circulations are there, but it's just so touch and go, Eric. It's going to be one scan, we see it, and the next scan, it's gone. But I would say right now, actually, just southwest of Cambridge is probably, and due south of Andover is probably where we're seeing the strongest of that circulation right there. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that. I'll pick some kind of wind we're getting in that. Oh, wow, look at that. The shear, 120 mile an hour shear with that. That is a sign, and that is an area right where it looks like we've got that circulation. That's a pretty, if that is on the ground, if there is a tornado with that, it could be a pretty strong one. So we'll watch that closely. Doesn't mean that that's happening, but radar is catching that. So if you're in Andover and Cambridge, you need to take your immediate tornado precautions. Do it right now. Also, that will eventually be moving up into Geneseo. So we're watching that closely. Obviously, the metro here, yeah, things are a little dicey right now as that storm is moving in, but we go up the line here looking at for wind and maybe some rotation. Something we're going to kind of watch here as it approaches the radar site, but the biggest concern is where they have this tornado warning for Henry County. Again, kind of that western, I'd say half of Henry County, just about, roughly. But here into northeast of Galesburg, too, some areas that we got to watch. But something we'll keep an eye on here, just, again, kind of touch and go here throughout that line.
Yeah, and that line, if we go back to one here, as you can see, it's very close to Andover. So this is just approaching Andover. It's now over and past Orion, now on top of Andover and Cambridge, and all these rural areas between that line, say from Andover to Cambridge, back up to Orion, all the way up to Interstate 80 toward the Big X. You folks, we know that's a rural area, but we know you're there, so you need to be taking shelter immediately, because this line is moving your way. And again, this black box, you can see right here on the east, bordered by this portion to the west, and goes into northern portions of Henry County. That is a tornado warning until 9:15 this evening. So we still have a little shy of half an hour to go. But again, it is making progress through the county with those little dents on the leading edge of the line. And that's why we, right over I-74 right now, and then back towards southwest of Andover. These are suspicious little areas that we're going to have to be watching.